Protexiste Deus a conventum Marignatium, alleluia, a multitudine operantium iniquitatem, alleluia, alleluia. Exaudi Deus orationem meam cum deprecor, a timore inimici eripe anima mea. Gloria Patri, Filii et Spiritui Sanctus, sicut erat in principio et nunc et semper, et in saecula saeculorum. Amen. Protexiste Deus a conventum Marignatium, alleluia, a multitudine operantium iniquitatem, alleluia, alleluia. Kyrie eleison, Kyrie eleison, Christe eleison, Kyrie eleison, Kyrie eleison. Gloria in excelsis Deo, et in terra pax hominibus bone voluntatis. Laudamus Te, benedicimus Te, adoramus Te, glorificamus Te. Gratias agimus Tibi propter magnam gloriam Tuam. Domine Deus Rex celestis, Deus Pater omnipotens, Domine Filii unigenite Iesu Christe, Domine Deus Agnus Dei, Filius Patris, qui tollis peccata mundi miserere nobis, qui tollis peccata mundi suscipe deprecatione nostra, qui sedes ad esseram Patris miserere nobis, quoniam tu solus Sanctus, tu solus Dominus, tu solus Altissimus Iesu Christe, cum Sancto Spiritu in gloria Dei Patris. Amen. Dominus vobiscum, et cum spiritu tuo. Oremus. Deus qui beatum fidelem, seraphico spiritus ardore succensum, in vere fide propagatione martirii palma et gloriosis miraculis decorare dignatus es, eiusque sumus meritis et intercessione, ita nos per gratiam tuam in fide et caritate confirma, ut in servitio tuo fidelis usque mortem in venire meriamur, per Dominum nostrum Iesum Christum Filium Tuum, qui tecum vivit et regniat in unitate Spiritus Sancti Deus, per omnia saecula saeculorum. Amen. Lectio Libri Sapientiae. Stabunt justi in magna constantia adversus eius, qui se angustia verunt, et qui abstulerunt laboris eorum. Videntes turbavuntur timore odibidi, et miravuntur in subitatione insperate salutis, dicentes intra se penitentiam agentes, et pre angustia spiritus gementes. Isunt quos abuimus aliquando in delisum, et in similitudinem improperii. Nos insensati vitam illorum estimavamus insaniam, et fidem illorum sine honore, ecce commodo computati sunt inter filius Dei, et inter sanctus sons illorum est. Deo gratias. Alleluia, alleluia, confidebuntur celi mirabilia tua Domine, et in veritatem tuam in ecclesia sanctorum, alleluia. Posuisti Domine super caput eius coronam de lapide precioso, alleluia. Dominus vobiscum, et cum spiritu tuo. Sequentia Sancti Evangelii secundum Ioannem. Gloria tibi, Domine. In illo tempore dixit Iesus discipulis suis, ego sum vitis vera, et pater meus agricola est. Omnem palmitem in me non ferentem fructum tolet eum, et omnem qui fert fructum purgabit eum, ut fructum plus aferat. Iam vos mundi estis propter sermonem, quem locutus sum vobis. Manese in me, et ego in vobis. Sicut palmes non potes ferre fructum assemet ipso, nisi mancelit in vite, sic nec vos nisi in me mancelitis. Ego sum vitis, vos palmites, qui manes in me, et ego in eo, iquer fructum multum, qui sine me licit potestis facere. Si quis in me non mancelit, mitetur fora sicut palmes, et arescet, et colligent eum, et in iniam mitent et artet. Si manceritis in me, et verba mea in vobis mancerint, quod cumque voleritis petetis, et fiat vobis. Lastitis. As the red vestments indicate, we are celebrating today the feast of a martyr who is not exactly probably very well known, unfortunately. His name is Fidelis of Sigmaringen, and so I would like to read from the traditional Roman breviary, a historical lesson, so we can learn a little bit more about him today. Fidelis, who was christened Mark, and whose family name was Reh, was born at Sigmaringen in South Germany in 1577. As a youth, he had great promise of good things to come, and by the time he began to teach philosophy at the University of Freiburg, where also he was at the same time studying law, he had already begun to live a life of penitential devotion. He strove never to give place to any resentment whatsoever. After he had received his doctorate, he acquired a considerable reputation for both ability and integrity, and was nicknamed the poor man's lawyer. But finding that the legal profession was for him replete with danger, he resolved to enter on the path that would best lead him to salvation. He sought admission to the order of Capuchins, whereof his brother George was already a member. The name given him in holy religion was Fidelis, from the passage in the Apocalypse where the crown of life is promised to such as are faithful. He was wont to say, "Woe betide me if I prove myself a half-hearted soldier in the service of my thorn-crowned captain." He besought of God that he might have the courage and opportunity to shed his blood for the Catholic faith. After his ordination to the priesthood, he showed himself full of zeal and became a faithful pastor of souls and a persuasive preacher of the gospel. When the Congregation for the Propagation of the Faith was organized, he was placed at its missions among the Swiss Calvinists in the Grecian Alps. This arduous task he undertook with a cheerful heart and inspired hope that all of that people would be reconciled. But his adversaries stirred up the peasantry against him by spreading the story that he was a political agent of the Austrian emperor, where it came to pass that on April 24th, 1622, after he had gone to a place called Fidelis, whose fanatical folk had craftily invited him to come and preach, pretending to be converted, while he was preaching, someone shot him without hitting him. And he, knowing that martyrdom was at hand, knelt before the altar in prayer, and then calmly set forth towards a nearby town. On the way, the heretics attacked him, and with a willful and cheerful heart, suffered a glorious death cruelly inflicted by their blows. Thus he consecrated with his own blood the first fruits of many martyrs from amongst missionaries sent out by the Congregation from the Propagation of the Faith. Portions of his martyred body were enshrined in various places, and in 1745 he was formally canonized. I think that St. Fidelis of Sigmaringen is a very helpful saint for us today, because we live in a time in which many people, in the name of God and in the name of religion, want to stir up as much hatred and division amongst men as they possibly can. We saw that the Calvinist heretics were so against St. Fidelis because of their kind of particular version of Christianity that they even conspired against him to pretend to want to convert to Catholicism as an excuse to try to kill him. This is where we see that religion can be poisoned and go off the rails when it is infused by the spirit of division and hatred. Those divisions among Christians that were present in St. Fidelis' time, unfortunately, have not disappeared. St. Fidelis was faithful to the end, but he was known by his faithfulness because of his patient and loving preaching of the gospel, not by marring the gospel, by dividing people against each other, and by more hatred. So today, let us pray that we may be able to follow the example of St. Fidelis of Sigmaringen, that we may be faithful to the truth handed down to us from Christ to the apostles, but we may do so in a way which inspires true love and devotion. Dominus vobiscum, et cum spiritu. Oremus, confitebuntur celi mirabilia tua Domine, et veritatem tuam in ecclesia sanctorum. Alleluia, alleluia. Orate fratres, in Christus per omnia saecula saeculorum. Amen. Dominus vobiscum, et cum spiritu tuo, sursum corda, habemus ad Dominum, gratias agamus Domino Deo nostro, dignum et justum et. Vedi dignum et justum est, tecum et salutare, te quidem Domine omni tempore, sed in hoc potissimum gloriosius predicare, cum Pascha nostrum immolatus est Christus. Ipse in verbis est agnus qui absolut peccata mundi, qui mortem nostra moriendo destruxit, et vitam resurgendo reparavit, et ide cum angelis et archangelis, cum thronis et dominationibus, cumque omne militia celestis exercitus, cum in gloriae Tuae canimus sine fine digentes. Sanctus, 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 Dominus Deus Sabaoth, pleni sunt steli et terra gloria Tua, Hosanna in excelsis. Benedictus qui venit in nomine Domini, Hosanna in excelsis. nobis corpore peccatoribus, per omnia saecula saeculorum. Amen. Oremus, praeceptis salutaribus voliti, et divina institutione formati, audemus dicere. Pater noster, qui es in celis, sanctificetur nomen tuum, adveniat regnum tuum, fiat voluntas tua, sicut in cielo et in terra. Panem nostrum quotidianum da nobis hodie, et dimite nobis debita nostra, sicut et nos dimittimus debitoribus nostris, et ne nos inducas in tentatione, sed libera nos a male. Per omnia saecula saeculorum. Amen. Pax Domini sit semper vobiscum. Agnus Dei, qui tollis peccata mundi, miserere nobis. Agnus Dei, qui tollis peccata mundi, miserere nobis. Agnus Dei, qui tollis peccata mundi, dona nobis pacem. Domine, non sum dignus. Domine, non sum dignus. Domine, non sum dignus. Letabitur justus in Domino, et speravit in eo, et adabuntur omnes erecti corde. Alleluia, alleluia. Dominus vobiscum, et cum spiritu tuo. Oremus. Daque sumus Domine Deus noster, ut sicut tuorum commemoratione sanctorum, temporale gratulamur officium, ita perpetuo letamur expecto. Per Dominum nostrum Iesum Christum Filium tuum, qui tecum vivit et regnat in unitate Spiritus Sancti Deus, per omnia saecula saeculorum. Dominus vobiscum, et cum spiritu tuo. Ite missa est, Deo gratias. Benedicat vos omnipotens Deus, Pater et Filius et Spiritus Sanctus. Amen. Dominus vobiscum, et cum spiritu tuo. Initium Sancti Evangelii secundum Ioannem, gloria tibi. Verbum caro factum est. Grazie Deus. Regina Celi, letare, alleluia, quia quem meruisi portare, alleluia. Resurrexit, sicut dixit, alleluia. Ora pro nobis Deum, alleluia.